Marvel's Eternals director Chloe Zhao is teasing two big surprising post-credit scenes at the end of Eternals. So this excites me for a couple different reasons, Marvel fans, because the fact that she's teasing them and they're starting to gain a little buzz about a month out from the release. I'm sure they have done test screenings, and man, it's just a matter of time before these either leak or really drive the movie's box office, because I think a lot of people, you kind of seen what Sony did with Venom in the end credit scenes and kind of teasing it. I think that helped out the box office for the opening weekend. It looks like Marvel's going to follow suit, and there are rumblings with these Eternals post credit scenes and what they mean for the MCU going forward. So let's dive into this article here a little bit, get some information off of here. Let's see here. So we have Academy Award-winning director Chloe Zhao. Eternals is the first MCU film to introduce an ensemble cast of newcomers to the MCU and the first to close out a film festival ahead of its theatrical release. So there you go. That's what I was talking about as far as the people seeing it earlier or whatnot, and why they think it's an awards contender. So they're getting good feedback on this. All right, the article goes on to say, while the film looks to expand the borders of the MCU, it's still a Marvel film that will tie into the universe and into Phase 4's story. Also, according to Zhao's, Eternals looks to keep the great Marvel tradition of intriguing post-credit scenes. When asked by Fandango, Eternals audiences should stay in the theaters following the film, director Chloe Zhao confirmed. The film features two post-credit scenes and teased they both have big surprises. Yes, don't just stay for one, also stay for the second one too. They are equally as important in weight and both have big surprises for you, end quote. And that's from director Chloe Zhao. Now, while it's true that not all Marvel post-credit scenes are groundbreaking or even all that revealing, the most recent films looking to play into the MCU certainly have been. Marvel's last theatrical film, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, featured post-credit scenes starring multiple Avengers and MCU characters laying the groundwork for what's to come. In addition, Sony's Venom Let There Be Carnage post-credit scene was arguably the most exciting moment of the film. Now, while details about Eternals are being kept under wraps, one of the film's promotions has made it clear that the film's ancient heroes are all aware of the Avengers and recent events within the MCU. And to add on to that, it did state that that I think 40% of the movie takes place before the snap, and then 60% takes place after the snap. So just keep that in mind, guys. Now, the article goes on to say, however, from what little audiences have seen of the film so far, coupled with how many new characters its presence, if any Avengers make an appearance, it will likely be in post-credit scene to connect these cosmic immortals to the greater MCU. Since Spider-Man No Way Home is the next Marvel film to release in theaters, it's possible that Eternals post-credit scenes could connect to the event of that film and beyond. There's also a theory that Shang-Chi's ancient Ten Rings have connections to the Eternals and their own story, or their own history, excuse me. So we got until November 5th, 2021. Now, let's speculate a little bit on what those two end credit scenes is. Reading in between the lines of what Chloe Zhao is saying, I believe what we're going to get is a X-Men Easter egg, and I believe that it's going to be Apocalypse. And the reason why is because Apocalypse history and this is a perfect way to set him up for coming down the line further as a big bad for the X-Men, is because he ties into ancient Egypt, and there's a little bit of history there with King the Conqueror, and what they could do is start to lay the groundwork for his appearance or his inception, so to speak, of how he was formed or made or created or what have you through the Eternals. So I definitely think that tease could be one of the post-credit scenes, and that's why she's saying it has such the weight. She's talking about the weight of these post-credit scenes. So I definitely think that He's one, and then they're going to set up for the X-Men, because I do believe that this movie in Eternals is going to set up the X gene and explain how they are, or how they will be, or how they are to come into the MCU. So that's one thing. I definitely think that we're getting Apocalypse, or at least Apocalypse Easter egg. Maybe not him himself, but we'll definitely get an Easter egg. The other thing I think they're going to tie into is going to be Galactus. So you're going to get a Fantastic Four and then an X-Men post-credit scene to tie it in. And the reason why I think that is because with the Eternals, they're going up against I can't think of the name right now. The name escapes me, but I think they're going to easily tie in those beings into Galactus to explain who Galactus is and why he's coming. I think when you think about the stature and the magnitude of what Galactus is and what he represents, it definitely ties into what they've done previously with setting up, like with the Guardians of the Galaxy going to nowhere and having to be in the head of a Celestial. They definitely could make Galactus tie into the Celestials, or make him some sort of ancient mythology created with that the Eternals film could kind of lay the groundwork for and explain as they're fighting the Celestials. So I think this movie has a lot of work to do. I'm not so sure that this movie will get a sequel, or if this will be a trilogy. So I guess it just depends on the success of the film. But given everything, I think it just depends, and it probably depends on Chloe Zhao wants to come back to do another one, honestly. But I think this film is going to lay the groundwork for mutants. I think it's going to lay the groundwork for the Celestials, of course, and explain the Eternals mythology within all of that and how everything spreads off of that. Like the article says, I think it will explore the 10 rings and how they came to be. And I think this film's going to just serve as a big, one big gorilla glue to the MCU, so to speak, because it's just going to kind of lay the groundwork for what's to come and tie it to what has happened before it. And I think that we may even get an Inhumans reference or explanation as well, because I do think the Inhumans are coming down the line, probably after mutants, but they're going to have to find a way to differentiate mutants from Inhumans, because that's going to be confusing to your normal audience, and which is why Ms. Marvel to me is so important as a show, because whether or not they even address if she is an Inhuman or not, will kind of tell you their plans for the Inhumans going forward, and if they plan on bringing them in. So that's kind of the gist of it. That's kind of where we're at with this. These two post-credit scenes are going to be everything. I think they could even be better than Shang-Chi's post-credit scenes, and those were good post-credit scenes as far as laying down the future and what you have coming with Bruce Banner and the relationship with Captain Marvel, and tying Shang-Chi into that. You got to make the heroes kind of know each other or know of each other, have some sort of connection, so when things hit the fan, you know what I mean, it's a lot easier to bring everybody together when this person knows that person, and that person knew this person, and that person knows a whole nother set of people, and that's kind of where they're going with this whole thing. So let me know down in the comment section, what you guys think the post-credit scenes will be. Will you piss your pants if Galactus is actually shown, or Apocalypse for that matter, if they pop up in the end credit scene and both of them are actually shown, like Thanos style from the original Avengers? Will you lose it? Let me know down in the comment section if you think it's something different, if you think I'm way off on this. So make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in to E = MCU. I'm out.